What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. Today, boy, do I have a treat for you guys, so buckle in and get ready for the cringe. Make sure you keep watching this one until the end, guys, because it gets only worse as the video progresses. So today's episode, we are kicking it back to the 90s, or at least the early 2000s. You know, I really can't tell. All that I know is that this show is outdated and super cringy looking back. To prove it, let's just see how they do this intro for the show. Talk about amazing editing. So I guess this show was called Blind Date from Hell, and it aired from like 1999 to 2006, so I was accurate on the time frame. I mean, if the editing alone and the video quality didn't give it away, then maybe their clothing and outfits in general does the trick. Gotta love this era in time. You know, it's finally old enough to where we can look back and make fun of how cringy the early 2000s were, and boy were they tough. Good thing I was young back then, that's my excuse, but I mean, I bet a ton of you weren't even around during the start of this show. So anyways, the premise is that they send these two people out on a blind date, which is pretty straightforward, but these two just do not click, and things progress worse and worse as time goes on. Let's see their painful first meeting to start things off.
Shannon?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kevin.
Hi, Shannon.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
I gotta say, props to these editors. I mean, they honestly make this show what it is. There's nothing more glorious than the era of television where people could get away with this insane over-editing. It seems like there was just a place and time where this was normal and accepted and kind of expected on television. I even remember there was shows where you could just watch music videos and they would annotate the footage and show little jokes or snippets about the video. It's like how the old annotations were on YouTube. It honestly just brings me back. The nostalgia, wow. So as you're gonna find out, this woman is entirely too boring for how stuck up she is. And this guy is pretty bad at hiding that he's embarrassed or hurt, and just kind of flips it around and becomes rude to her to make himself feel better oftentimes. It's truly a winning combination here, if you ask me.
So where do you work?
Currently, I work at Hooters.
A brand new one, right?
Yeah.
What'd you go to school for? Did you go to school?
Yeah, I've been in college. I'm taking theater and I'm taking business.
Bruh, these editors gotta chill, man. I love that they just take this boring piece of dialogue and spice it up with these. I'm just imagining the three dudes they hired to edit this show back in the day, sitting in some dark room at the studio, sharing their absolutely hilarious speech bubbles that they made for the show. I really hope they got paid a lot because, as you're gonna see, it's what makes this show amazing. But maybe that's ironically amazing, but still, they're hilarious to me. So now they're gonna go on a date to draw each other in the park. I mean, name a more hipster, artsy thing to do. This lady was way ahead of her time. I mean, this is what every basic girl on Tinder in my area wants to do, and it just doesn't seem all that fun to me. You know, maybe that's because I'm terrible at drawing, but let's just see how this plays out.
Ugh, I hate bugs.
Okay, let's compare.
Alright, I really can't handle these edits, bro. They got no business motion tracking and masking out this shot. Like, that's entirely too much work for this show in particular. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I hope you guys realize she didn't actually write that. It's just a fake note cleverly edited in, and you can tell because it moves a bit and the motion tracked isn't exact, as well as the edges of her shoulder and hand being blurry because of the mask feathering. Wow, the video editing master Grim at it again with his detective skills. They should hire me if this show ever starts up again. I'm full of good thought bubble quips. Just give me a try, alright? So this is where the train wreck starts, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, they continue the date, possibly because they were contractually obligated. I mean, the show's gotta get enough content to fill the 21 minutes, or whatever the standard is for TV. So they get fully changed into a new outfit, and they go to one of those high-end movie theaters where you can pay $30 for subpar food while you sit at a table uncomfortably to watch a full movie on the big screen.
My lips are kind of going numb. You're not feeling anything at all. This is like my third. Is this my third or my second? I can't really recall.
And this man says to himself, you know what, I'm really not feeling this girl, she's kind of not getting any of my jokes and takes herself way too seriously, I'm just gonna get hammered instead. That will be the one thing to make this fun. So let's see if that plan works out. I mean, it's a bold move, but it's been done before with success, so maybe it'll work out for him, right?
Dude,
Kim. Oh, baby Kim.
you still don't know my name.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's
I so
Candy. Candy.
Yes, my name is Candy. How you doing? You don't know my name.
Yikes, this dude was so boring to her that she just up and forgot his name. The one thing you're supposed to listen to and remember on a date, so that you at least give off the illusion of caring about this person even if you don't. This woman is giving off the worst first date impressions to this guy. Seriously, I don't blame this dude for doing what he's doing. I mean, how do you just forget someone's name like that? Actually, never mind. I suffer from this sometimes. You know, I don't know if you guys do the same, but when I meet people and they tell me their name, sometimes I'm more focused on like nailing the handshake and the whole interaction in general, that when they tell me their name, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. Maybe that happened to her here, but still, that's a big yikes moment for me.
I'm enjoying this booze that's in me. Can't wait for a little bit more. Hooray for booze!
So that's right, apparently they went from this movie theater where they had dinner to an actual restaurant. Not sure who planned this date, but maybe they're just really into eating food. Either way, let's see how this dinner part 2 plays out. Here's where my favorite moment is personally. This man gets incredibly tilted with her.
I'm just bored.
You're bored?
Yes.
Blame yourself. This entire date, you've been so blasé.
Blah.
Blasé.
Blah, blah.
You know what? You're bored? Blame yourself. You should be on drink number 10 like I am. That's why you're bored. Quit acting so blasé. I love that he just used that word, by the way. I don't think the word blasé is thrown around enough anymore. Guys, we gotta bring that back, all right? But I think both of them are just so incredibly boring and uptight about things at times that it makes them clash, because she basically shuts down and starts fighting when he gets boring to her, and when she gets that way, he gets defensive and becomes rude back. I mean, to be honest, the showrunners probably could have guessed that this was coming from a mile away by their casting information when they tried to get on the show originally, so they more than likely used that to their advantage and pinned the two polar opposite people together to get the best TV. I mean, they should have known they were going on a date with someone unlike them, because that's what this whole show was about. It's literally described in the title. Hopefully they got paid enough to deal with this terrible night out though. I mean, I guess they got 2 free meals out of it though, so that's a big win in my books. I'd do the show just for that.
So at what point did this date begin to go wrong, do you think?
I don't know, when I first saw you.
Oh, ish.
Oh my god, yo, she's straight up savage. I mean, you can give off the illusion of at least caring about his feelings like a little tiny bit, right? I admit it's weird that this dude just straight up asked the question out of the blue, but still say something besides the fact that looking at him for the first time made you realize the date wasn't going to work out. 1, because that is a terrible thing to say to someone for their self-esteem, and 2, you're not exactly a total 10 yourself, lady. Get off your high horse, alright? I think that's her problem. She must think that she is just like 3 points higher than she actually is in terms of the hotness scale. Guys, you made it super far into the video, so before we continue, you have 5 seconds to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And if you can do all of that in 5 seconds, your date will never forget your name. That's right, you'll never have to suffer the cringe this man went through. I admit the hard part is actually finding someone to date you, so good luck with that. Anyways, back to the rest of the video.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too.
Mr. Cole, I mean, Kim, I mean,
No problem, Shaniqua.
whatever.
Have a good night, huh?
Whatever, Shaniqua. I love this dude's sense of humor when it comes down to these really, really awkward moments. He even went out of his way to give her a kiss on the hand like a true gentleman. Or creep, I really don't know nowadays if that's seen as courteous or just weird because no one really does it anymore. But either way, wow, was this date a train wreck. But that's not it, folks. We got the date recap incoming. That's where these two sit in front of the camera in true early reality TV fashion and give their thoughts on the date. Let's see what they both thought of it. I mean, I'm sure they were both super into the person and had a great time. That's at least what came through on camera, of course, you know?
I think the fact that she didn't remember my name kind of said a lot about her, and the fact that she had as much IQ as my dinner did.
This dude is quick with the insults when he's hurt. Yeah, she had about as much IQ as my dinner had. AKA she was stupid and my spaghetti sucked just like her personality. Got some free drinks though, so that was pretty chill. Thanks for that, guys.
I forgot Kevin's name on purpose because the date was obviously boring. He was obviously boring, and that's the only way I can spice things up.
Alright, eyebrows, you gotta chill with this boring talk. Hate to break it to you, woman, but you weren't exactly a ball of excitement either earlier on the date, because your answers were pretty boring, and I think she didn't realize that he was meeting her with the same amount of interest that she was showing him. It's a two-way street, and I think she just acts this way because she thinks she's way hotter than she actually is, and that guys will put up with it because she looks so good, but clearly that wasn't the case here.
I don't really go for curly hair, and her boobs are obviously fake and torpedo-like, so yeah.
I think that Kevin was definitely attracted to me.
Yikes. Torpedo-like? Like, what does that even mean, dude? He's coming out with these insanely specific roasts on her, like he was spending the whole date trying to figure out what to say in the recap so that he could look baller at the end, like he wasn't hurt that she shut him down, and meanwhile, she just made herself look dumber in the end here. The best part of this, though, is how they switch it up and move on to her afterwards, where she says, yeah, he was definitely into me and thought I was hot. I just wasn't feeling it.
I would rather get sucked up by a tornado of farts than go on another date with Kevin.
Wow, a tornado of farts. That sounds like a really, really bad time. So it's safe to say these two aren't going on another date ever again. Like I said though, the silver lining on this was that they both got to be on TV and got a free date meal or two out of this. And just to think that this is probably someone's mom or dad by now, and finding this gem of a show now would just be hilarious. It's nice that we can look back at how cringy this editing and style was in general, and I'm sure we will do the same for shows we have right now down the road. Let me know what you thought of these two down in the comments below, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out.